Bullying is something that we all have, in one way or another, had some kind of contact with. Maybe we have known somebody who was bullied, or maybe we have been the target of bullying. And bullying is a thing in the tabletop RPG space. So today I want to tackle this subject by going down a list of things that I want to cover in this video. So the first thing I'm going to cover is 4 qualities every bully has across the board. So even if you don't play tabletop RPG, you'll know these truths about every bully. And even though I'm talking about specific things with tabletop RPGs and sitting at the table, I believe that this video can be for anyone, because it's going to help you in some way when it comes to bullies that may be in your life. So after I get done with the 4 qualities, I'm going to also tell you about 2 types of bullies that we specifically have to deal with in the tabletop RPG space, and I'll throw in a couple more afterwards. I'm going to talk about how bullies thrive, and then we're going to end it up by giving you a remedy on how to deal with bullies. So we got a lot to cover in this video, y'all. So let's go ahead and roll that transition. We can say that bullies come in all shapes and sizes, but they all have 4 things in common across the board. The first is that they're weak. They're weak. Now, they may not be weak physically, right? They may be big, but that doesn't matter really, because the places where they're weak are psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. Weak across the board. They're weak. Now, why are they this way? Well, it's because they're insecure. See, instead of dealing with their weakness, right, they sit there and they think about it. They don't deal with the problem, try to shore it up, try to strengthen it. No, they sit there and bemoan it. And it's kind of like the Joker in The Dark Knight. They just want to see the world burn because of the way that they feel about themselves, which they won't let people see. Because, of course, the third quality, it's all about them. They're narcissists. Every one of them. It's all about them. Do what I want to do, say what I say, make everything be like I want it to be. And if you don't, then I'm going to do all of these negative things to make your life miserable. But really, at the end of the day, all of that stems from fear. And that is because of the 4th quality. They're cowards. Just cowards. They're afraid. And they don't know how to deal with that. And so they want to go and let other people feel afraid so that they can feel better about themselves. Again, narcissists. So those are the 4 qualities. Every single bully, every one, all of them are weak, insecure, narcissistic cowards. All of them. Now, how do we see this played out in a tabletop RPG session or environment? Well, there's 2 main kinds of bullies. So let's get into describing the first one, which is probably the one that most people are familiar with. Now, bully GMs are popular, but they're not the most common. We'll get to them in a second. But a bully GM, they will try to railroad the players at the table to get them to do what they want them to do. Now, why would they do that? Well, maybe they've prepared something and they've spent a whole bunch of time on it, and they're like, okay, you need to go through this just because I've spent a lot of time on it. Or it could be because, well, I've only prepared a little bit, and so since I haven't prepared and I'm a lazy GM, you guys need to go in this direction so everything will work like I want it to work. It's always about them, remember, narcissism. Now, if you do persist in going down that path, Then what will happen is that you might get the game weaponized against you because they are the ones who have the position of power at the table. Or they may inject or say something that would make everybody feel uncomfortable or add some element to the game that's obviously uncomfortable for everyone. Or they might pull one of these. They might say, well, this player over here, I think I like them a little bit more, but these guys over here, they're bothering me. So what they're going to do, they're going to play favorites. So this person over here, stuff is happening good for them, but this person over here, they will purposely misinterpret their abilities, or they will downplay their decisions or actions to really lessen their impact on the campaign, pretty much on the session. Obviously, this is going to make people feel uncomfortable at the table, except the person that they're favoring. But even in that case, they probably will catch it and be like, man, that's not right. And they would be right. But this is what bully GMs do. And so you have to watch this at your table. Those are the symptoms of what you can expect a bully GM to do when they're behind the screen. Now, player bullies are the most common bullies, though we don't like to admit that, but bar none, they are way more common in the tabletop RPG space than GM bullies. Way more. And the way that player bullies do things when they're in a session is one of the first things they'll try to do is try to make it about their character, try to make everything about them. And they will always be the first ones to be the leader. And they will remind you, if during the session you're not following in line here, then they will be like, okay, well, I'm the leader. And that's how they work. And so if things aren't going their way in the game, then all of a sudden the rules become very important. They become rules lawyers, and they try to manipulate the rules so that they can get everything that they want. And again, make it about them. Inherently, because they are this way, they are not team players. It is not about being part of a group and a team. For them, it is about using the group and the team so they can lift them up and lift their character up, because it should always be about them, because did I mention that they were narcissists? Another thing that they will do in a passive aggressive way is they will come at certain players. Maybe they have a disagreement or whatever. So what will happen is that they'll come at certain players and then they'll pawn it off on role playing. Well, I was just role playing. Well, you know good and well that it was personal and it wasn't role playing. And that's why the tension at the table is so thick you can cut it with a knife. Or they will nitpick at the GM because they don't like the GM, what the GM is doing. So, or the GM may have actually put their foot down. And so they start nitpicking on, oh, well, you know, it really doesn't go like that. And, oh, the rules say this and the rest, little stuff like that. That is a bully that you have playing at your table. So how do these bullies get to the table to begin with? I mean, how does that happen? Well, it happens for this reason, folks. It happens because we allow them to be there and have power over us. Let me say that again. It happens and they are there because we allow them to be there and have power over us at the table. That's how bullies exist. That's why they are there. And that's why they keep coming back. And the things that we do to encourage that so that bullies can thrive is we start thinking up all these kind of excuses, which are not excuses. All they really are covers for our own fear or cowardice and selfishness. I'll explain that in a second. But here are some of the most popular excuses that, number one, we may either tell ourselves or we may tell other players. We may say things like, well, I don't really like the drama, you know, or we will say, well, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Or we will say, well, it's just a game. Or we will say, well, nobody else was saying anything about it. So, or my favorite, and I've mentioned this one before, or we will say, well, they're my friend. All of those are just covers for your cowardice and, you know, the whole, you know, I just don't like drama type of deal. Yeah, that is very selfish, because it's not just about you. It's about everybody else that's at the table too. I don't want to leave them out. You need to leave them out because they're killing the session. Now, people, they know this. They see it going on at the table, and they know this. They won't do anything about it. And that's how bullies thrive. That is how bullies thrive, because we make up non-excuses to allow them to stay at the table. Now, I said earlier that the GM is the most popular when it comes to this. The GM was the reason safety tools were made. The GM bully. That's why safety tools were made. Now, you guys know how I feel about safety tools. I already got these 2 videos that I've done on the subject, and I'm going to do 2 more. And here's the reason why. Because you are trying to solve an internal condition with an external solution, and it'll never work. If anything, the GM is going to use that, and this is only if they're a bully, they're going to use that to their advantage because they're narcissists. They're just going to use, that's just another weapon in their arsenal to use. And I understand what safety tools are trying to do. They're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. And they certainly are not going to stop a bully from being a bully. They just won't. But I do have a remedy for you on what will stop a bully from being a bully and what you need to do if, after hearing all of this, you realized, oh my gosh, we have a bully in our group. Funny thing happened as I was recording this video. I was going through, editing, taking out the stuff that I wanted to take out. And when I got done, I still had a video that was over 20 minutes. And all of the things that I was talking about, I wanted to keep. So I'm going to do something I have never done before and I've never planned on doing. But hey, sometimes it's cool when an experiment is necessary. Now, for those of you who come to the channel on a regular basis, you know, I do not do videos on this channel that are over 20 minutes. And those who are new, if you want to know why, I leave a link for that down in the description. And here's the thumbnail. So in order to get all of this out in the time that I want to get it out, and instead of letting you guys wait forever, I'm going to release both of the videos at the same time. So if you want to go and watch part 2 of this video, go and watch it right here. Enjoy. God bless.